Welcome to Psychology Truth. In today's video, we're diving deep into one of the most powerful and misunderstood concepts in human psychology. Machiavellian loyalty testing. Now, before you scroll away thinking this is just another video about fake friends, let me stop you right there. This is something far more sophisticated, far more strategic, and far more because the truth is, most people walking around in your life right now, your friends, your colleagues, maybe even some family members, are not who they appear to be. You can't tell by how they smile at you, how they laugh at your jokes, or how they show up when things are good. The real test only happens in the shadows, in the silences, when they think you're not watching. So stay with me because by the end of this video, you are going to see people differently. You are going to understand loyalty on a level that most people never reach. And most importantly, you are going to know exactly who in your life is real and who is just pretending. Let's start with something that Niccolo Machiavelli himself understood better than almost anyone in history. Machiavelli was a 15th century Italian diplomat, philosopher, and political strategist. His ideas were so ruthlessly accurate about human nature that they terrified people for centuries. His most famous work, The Prince, wasn't just a book about politics. It was a manual on understanding power, loyalty, and the hidden motivations of the people around you. Machiavelli wrote that a wise man must observe how necessary it is to know how to make use of beasts as well as reason. What he meant was simple but devastating. Not everyone operates from a place of logic and morality. Some people operate purely from instinct, from self-interest, from survival. And if you don't know how to identify those people, they will eventually use you, betray you, or abandon you the moment it benefits them to do so. That is why today we are talking about 5 specific Machiavellian moves, 5 psychological strategies that will reveal, with stunning clarity, who in your life is genuinely loyal to you and who is simply playing the role until something better comes along. The first move is what we call the deliberate vulnerability test. Here's how it works. You share something with a specific person, a fear, a struggle, a personal challenge, something that feels real and raw. But here is the crucial detail. You only share it with that one person. Nobody else. You plant this piece of information like a seed, and then you wait. You watch. Because a truly loyal person will hold that vulnerability with care. They won't bring it up unnecessarily. They won't use it as ammunition in a future argument. They won't whisper it to others when the conversation shifts. But a disloyal person, a person who only appears loyal, will eventually let it slip. Maybe not immediately. Maybe not even intentionally at first. But over time, the information will surface somewhere it shouldn't. It will come back to you through a third party. It will be referenced in a moment of tension. It will be used, consciously or unconsciously, as a tool of leverage. And when that happens, you will have your answer. Because loyalty is not just about what someone says to your face. It is about what they do with your trust when you are not in the room. The deliberate vulnerability test is one of the most effective tools in Machiavellian psychology, precisely because it requires nothing dramatic. There is no confrontation, no accusation, no scene. You simply share, observe, and let human nature do the rest. Machiavelli understood that people reveal themselves, not in grand gestures, but in quiet, unguarded moments. And this test creates exactly that kind of moment. The second move is the strategic withdrawal, and this one is going to feel counterintuitive at first. But stay with me, because it is profoundly revealing. The strategic withdrawal means you deliberately pull back. You become less available. You stop initiating conversations. You stop offering your energy and attention so freely, and you create a subtle but noticeable distance between yourself and the people around you. Now, here is what happens next. And this is where it gets fascinating. The people who are truly loyal to you will notice. They will reach out. They will check in. Not because they want something from you. Not because you can do something for them. But because your presence genuinely matters to them. They will ask if you are okay. They will make the effort to close the gap. But the people who are never truly loyal, they will simply adjust. They will fill the space you left with other people, other distractions, other sources of whatever they were getting from you. And they won't even realize they've revealed themselves. This is the elegant brutality of the strategic withdrawal. It requires no words, no tests, no awkward conversations. You simply step back and watch who steps forward. Because loyalty, real loyalty, is not passive. It is active. A loyal person doesn't just respond when you show up. They show up when you disappear. They feel your absence because your presence was never just convenient for them. It was meaningful. And those who only valued your convenience will demonstrate that fact through their silence. The third move is the false information plant. This is perhaps the most classically Machiavellian strategy, and it is devastatingly effective when used with precision. Here is what you do. You tell different people slightly different versions of the same piece of information. Nothing harmful, nothing malicious, just small variations that are distinct enough to be traced. Maybe you tell one person you are considering a move to a new city. You tell another you are thinking about changing careers. You tell a third that you are having financial difficulties. Each story is slightly different, each planted with a different person. And then you wait, because if any of that information circulates, if it gets back to you through the grapevine, if it shows up in conversations where it shouldn't, you will know exactly where it came from. You will know who is talking about your private life behind your back. You will know who cannot be trusted with your real thoughts, your real plans, your real vulnerabilities. Machiavelli was a master of this. He understood that in any court, any organization, any social circle, there are people who trade in information. People whose loyalty is not to you but to the social currency that gossip and secrets provide. The false information plant doesn't just reveal disloyalty. It reveals something even more important. It reveals who sees your life as their entertainment, who treats your private matters as public content, and who has fundamentally misunderstood the nature of trust. Once you know who those people are, you can adjust accordingly. You can decide what they are allowed to know. You can manage the information they have access to, and you can protect yourself with precision rather than paranoia. The fourth move is to crisis observation, and this one requires patience, because it is not something you manufacture. It is something you watch for. Here is the principle. In moments of genuine crisis, when your life takes a difficult turn, when you face a real setback, when things are genuinely hard, pay very close attention to who shows up and how. Pay attention not just to who reaches out, but to the quality of that reaching out. Because there is a profound difference between the person who sends a quick message just to cover their social bases, and the person who actually shows up, who asks real questions, who sits with you in the difficulty without trying to fix it or minimize it or make it about themselves. The Machiavellian insight here is this: comfort is easy when everything is going well. Anyone can be your friend when life is smooth and your company is enjoyable and being around you costs them nothing. But crisis changes the calculation. Crisis reveals whether someone's loyalty is conditional on your usefulness, your status, your good mood, your resources, and it reveals whether they are capable of giving something: time, energy, emotional presence, without expecting anything in return. Watch who disappears when things get hard. Watch who suddenly becomes very busy. Watch who offers advice when you needed empathy, or who makes your struggle about their feelings. And equally, watch who surprises you, because sometimes crisis reveals loyalty you didn't know you had, in people you might have underestimated. Machiavelli wrote that it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. But what he was really pointing to was this: love without substance is just performance, and crisis is the stage where the performance finally drops. The fifth and final move is the long silence test. This is the most subtle move on this list, and in many ways, the most powerful. Here is how it works. You go quiet, not forever, not dramatically, just for a period of time. You stop posting, stop updating, stop being visible. You don't announce it. You don't explain it. You simply become still, and then you observe, once again. Who knows? But this test goes deeper than the strategic withdrawal. Because the long silence test is not just about who reaches out. It is about the nature of that reaching out over time. Because in the early days of your silence, some people will check in out of habit, or mild curiosity, or social obligation. But as the silence extends, those people will drift. The ones who remain, the ones who continue to think of you, to reach out, to hold space for your absence, even when there is nothing in it for them. Those are your people. Those are the ones whose loyalty is not performance. It is not contingent on your visibility or your activity or what you bring to the social equation in any given week. Their connection to you is genuine enough to survive your silence. In psychology, this concept connects to what researchers call attachment theory. The idea that secure attachment is marked not by constant presence, but by the confidence that presence will return, and that the relationship can survive distance without dissolving. A truly loyal person has that kind of secure attachment to you. They are not threatened by your silence. They are not insulted by your withdrawal. They simply hold the space and remain. And that, in the end, is what loyalty actually looks like. Now, before we close, there's something important that needs to be said. These 5 Machiavellian moves are not about becoming cynical. They are not about assuming the worst of everyone around you, or turning your relationships into a chess game. Machiavelli himself has been deeply misunderstood by history. He was not advocating for cruelty or manipulation as a way of life. He was advocating for clarity, for seeing reality as it is, not as you wish it would be. And that is what these strategies are ultimately about. They're about giving yourself the gift of clarity in a world where people are complicated, where motivations are mixed, where even well-meaning people can prove to be unreliable when the stakes are high enough. When you know who is truly loyal to you, really know, not just hope or assume something powerful ships inside you. You stop pouring your energy into connections that were never going to nourish you. You stop being blindsided by betrayals that, in hindsight, the signs were always there for. You stop building your life on foundations that were never solid to begin with. And instead, you invest. You invest your trust, your vulnerability, your time, your love deliberately and wisely in the people who have proven, through their actions, in unguarded moments, that they deserve it. That is not Machiavellianism as a weapon. That is Machiavellianism as wisdom. And that wisdom, applied with integrity and compassion, might be one of the most powerful psychological tools you ever develop. Thank you for watching Psychology Truth. If this video made you think, if it gave you something real to take into your relationships and your understanding of the people around you, then please like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And as always, stay sharp, stay aware, and never stop seeking the truth.